It's time for Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. And now your host, J. Bryan Nugen, estate planning and elder law attorney.
Good morning, and welcome to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. I'm attorney J. Bryan Nugen, founder of Nugen Law, and your host for our program. The purpose of our show is to have weekly, in-depth conversations about matters relevant to folks as they walk down the path of successful aging. Our listeners will learn what it is to age with dignity and how best to protect their money. I've been practicing law for 3 decades. I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida, and actively represent clients in all 4 states. My practice, the attorneys, and our interdisciplinary team of professionals who practice with me concentrate on working with clients in estate planning and elder law and areas related to them, such as protecting money from nursing home stays, securing benefits from programs like Medicaid and the VA, geriatric care coordination, estate and trust administration, guardianships, and planning for those with special needs. Nugen Law sees clients in many stages of life, but commonly we have folks reaching out when they or a loved one are showing signs of needing help. Those signs may include a chronic ailment or progressive decline before, during, or after hospitalization, an instance of incapacity, caregiver burnout, stress on family members due to some or all of those instances I just mentioned. As a reminder, Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. We take a life care planning approach to client representation, meaning that not only do our attorneys prepare any legal instruments appropriate for your unique situation, without additional cost, our clients also have access to our affiliated CPA certified public accounting firm for preparation of their individual tax returns. Our clients are invited to our client-only educational opportunities, have access to our Medicare specialist who advises on what Medicare plan and supplemental plan to use, the ability to have your legal documents revised as necessary, and when appropriate, unlimited access to our elder care coordinator, a person who assists with whatever help our clients may need as they age, including setting tours of various facilities like nursing homes, assisted living facilities, independent living facilities, arrange for help in client homes, arrange moving and downsizing, and advocating for Nugen Law clients when necessary. If you hear something in today's broadcast which resonates with you, an area in which we may be able to help, please call Nugen Law at 260-925-3738. Speak with one of our intake specialists and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or Auburn locations. You are also encouraged to see us online at www.nugenlaw.com. In our practice, we work with other professionals for whom we have a great deal of respect and always make it easy to advance their name. Today's guest is one of those people. We have realtor Kenson Dhanie of the Dhanie Group of Realtors, part of the Mike Thomas Group, in the studio with us. Kenson, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. How many years have you been a licensed realtor?
I've been a licensed realtor for 20 years.
Is that right?
Yes, all in the Midwest area.
That time has flown by. I can't believe it.
Absolutely.
What drew you to the field in the first place?
I honestly wanted to be my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have the freedom to work with clients that I wanted to work with,
Mm-hmm.
that I could help. And real estate offered an opportunity for me to do and live the life I want to live,
Mm-hmm.
but still provide an income,
Mm-hmm.
as well as feel the need to help,
Mm-hmm.
which fulfills everything I
Mm-hmm.
wanted in a career.
Yeah, I think you can talk about the income that the career provides for you or the lifestyle that it provides for you, but at the core, you have to enjoy what you're doing and feel like you're helping someone.
Correct.
And I can say to our listeners that when we've worked with Kenson in the past, our clients have been thrilled to use his services and have been very appreciative of how thorough and attentive he is to them. So, Kenson, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit more about the market right now. Is this a buyer's market? Is this a seller's market? Some of the rates they're talking about may be going down in the near future. What's the current real estate market doing in northeastern Indiana? and how do you draw those conclusions?
Sure. So currently, the market, as we are seeing, is becoming a little bit more level. It was a seller's market in the last couple of years, but this year we've noticed a changeover. And how we're seeing that changeover is in the number of houses that are on the market currently compared to a year ago. A year ago was 30% less inventory. And this year it's up 30%.
Is that right?
Yeah. We also are seeing that houses are staying on the market longer than 12 hours. We're now seeing them 34 days, 45 days. The truth is that a balanced market, you should have more inventory we currently have, and we should also be seeing houses actually sitting on the market 45 to 60 days, and that creates a balanced market. So we seem to be getting to the point of a balanced market. What's holding us back are some anomalies. The interest rates are not coming down as fast as they are, but they are going to start. So we think that the middle of this fall to the beginning of spring, we're going to see some rates dropping. The other thing in that is that since there aren't that many houses on the market, that's actually keeping prices increasing. We would have thought that they would start dropping, but they're really still increasing. Maybe not as much as it was 2 years ago or a year ago, but we're still seeing single percentage growth. So 5%, 8%, depending on the location. We're still seeing that happening.
So with the 30% increase in homes on the market over where we were a year ago, is that as a result of the interest rates being a little bit higher? Are there multiple factors that are playing into that?
Yeah, there are multiple factors. The interest rates are definitely one thing, but we also don't have a variety of houses anymore. So
what do you mean?
Meaning that before, a buyer could look at 12, 24 houses and have a selection. Now you don't have a lot of current homeowners that are willing to sell their house, so the variety that's out there is very limited. And instead of having 5 of the same house to look at, now you've only got 1 to choose from. So that's picked up immediately, and it's gone. So that variety that's there is that we are accustomed to having, we don't have that anymore.
All right.
So there's several factors that factor to not all one thing, as like in the example of interest rates.
Sure. So although the market's leveling, it isn't quite there yet.
No.
Right.
And I believe that it's still far from leveling. I think we're still going to see the increase in pricing. And we're also going to see an increase in inventory. But they're still going to the price is still going to keep going up because now let's add another factor. We have more people that are starting to move to the Fort Wayne and the northern Indiana area, for example. Industry is starting to come in. Talk of access to rail systems that will take us to bigger cities.
Sure.
We have all these factors that are helping northern Indiana become more populated, work from home.
Right.
We are also a market that is not quite where values are.
What do you mean?
Meaning that if you're looking at a house in Florida, that same house up here is going to be 2 times less than the house in Florida. So nationally, our values are less than what the national statistics show.
Right. I've seen that before. Fort Wayne has been rated, I think, one of the most affordable cities to live in. And it's changed for sure.
Yes.
It has changed. It's continuing to go up over the past several years. But relatively speaking to other larger markets, we're still very an affordable community.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For those of our listeners that may be a retiree thinking about moving or downsizing and moving, what should they be considering as they begin this process?
I think the very first thing they have to look at is why are they moving? Why do they want to move?
Sure.
Because that's the driver of everything else that's going to happen. So Are they moving because of health reasons? Are they moving because of family? And then they have to look back and go, okay, well, what's holding us back? If there's something that's holding you back, then maybe that's not the right time to move. But if you are moving, now you really need to look at not necessarily a move for the next few years. You have to almost think as a retiree, is this the last move you're going to make? And if so, your planning shouldn't just be finding the beautiful house that you want, but it's going to be what around it, what amenities are available that you're going to have to move to.
Sure.
You're looking at physicians groups. You're looking at hospitals. You're looking at shopping, family. You look at all those things, and then that helps to make a decision. Then a realtor comes in and helps tie that in a little bit further for you.
I encourage my clients in my practice, if you're thinking about moving, start that process sooner rather than later, so you're ahead of it and you're not in a situation where it's being forced upon you because of sudden health change or sudden change in circumstances. So would you be willing, Kenson, if somebody reached out to you to come in and look at their home and say, gosh, if you're thinking about moving, these are some recommendations that I might provide to you in anticipation of listing in, so many months down the road or something like that?
Yeah. And absolutely, that's the first thing you should be really doing if you decide, once you've decided you're going to make the move. In our market, there are things that you should do to your house to make it more marketable, but there are things that you don't necessarily need to do anymore, and those are cost savings to you. If you don't need to paint a room, why spend the money painting it? Because the market's still going to pay for that. So I'm always, one of the first things I do is I walk through the house room by room, and I want to tell you everything you should do, or if there's anything you do not need to do. We want to get, in the end, your investment. We want that to be the investment that you can take forward to the new house. And we always, a lot of people think about, well, once I retire, then I'm going to look at moving to that last house. Well, you may want to consider maybe doing that before you retire as a second house, because the income that you are currently making can be used to pre-qualify you for a home loan. Obviously, the best option is if you have cash, take the cash and you move it to the next home.
But if not,
the best option sometimes is to purchase while you're still employed, and your income can justify the loan product that you're going to get.
And get the home ready and get it prepared, and then you don't have that crush of having, I have 30 days to be out of this home into the next home and so forth.
Correct.
But let's, if our listeners care to reach out to Kenson, his phone number is 260-249-0778. That's 260-249-0778. Kenson, are there services to help a mature person if they're considering downsizing, looking to downsize? And if so, what are those services?
Well, the very first service that you have, especially when you're downsizing, everything you've accumulated over the years, those you have to find a way to limit those. And we do have a service that actually comes in, looks at everything you have, helps you make the decisions, helps you pack, and help you move. Our company or our team actually will resource or find those sources for you, whether it's packing and moving, or demolition, or trash removal.
Excellent.
We have all different contractors that we work with that are going to do what your needs are.
Sure. And contractors you've worked with historically and have a good reputation and that you work well with and your clients have appreciated.
Absolutely.
Great. So what? Let's assume that we're going through the downsizing process and we're starting to think about what type of a home that we may need. Kenson, what should our listeners be considering when purchasing and or selling a home?
So when purchasing, especially as your needs are going to change, maybe your physical needs are going to change, your medical needs are going to change, what we want to look at is the type of house you're going to be looking to purchase. So considering open concept, hard surface flooring for mobility reasons, countertops that are wheelchair accessible, your bathrooms, not the tubs anymore, but roll-in
walk-in
showers.
I tell my clients at the law office, if you want to stay in your own home, right? If you want to age in place, right? We're selling a large home and downsizing, the bathroom is key. The bathroom that you're able to put up grab bars around the toilet area. In the shower itself, it's either a roll-in or walk-in shower. If you have to step over a tub or into one of those garden tubs, it's never going to fly. I just had a client in yesterday that was talking about for their parent, they put in this fancy jetted tub, and the side of the tub opens up and closes, and it doesn't work.
No.
It just didn't work for them. They really needed a shower to roll into or walk into.
Yeah.
So those are key. So those, Kenson, when people are looking at their homes, looking at future homes to downsize, they might to consider something like that.
Correct.
As a reminder, Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. We take a life care planning approach to client representation, meaning that not only do our attorneys prepare any legal instruments appropriate for your unique situation, without additional cost, our clients also have access to our affiliated CPA firm for preparation of their tax return, are invited to our client-only educational opportunities, have access to our Medicare specialist who advises on what Medicare plan and supplemental plan to secure, the ability to have your legal instruments revised as necessary and when appropriate, and then unlimited access to our elder care coordinator if it's appropriate for you. Our ECC is a person who assists with whatever help our clients may need as they age, including setting tours of various facilities, arranging for help in client homes, one-on-one help, arranging moving and downsizing, and referring to folks like Kenson Dhanie here to list their homes for sale. Our ECC also advocates for our clients when necessary at nursing homes, facilities, etc. If you hear something in today's broadcast which resonates with you, an area in which we may be able to help, please call Nugen Law at 260-925-3738. Speak with one of our intake specialists and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or Auburn locations. You're also encouraged to see us online at www.nugenlaw, that's Nugen law.com. If you as a listener would like to speak with our guest, Realtor Kenson Dhanie, please contact him at 260-249-0778. Kenson's number again, 260-249-0778. He would be pleased to help. Kenson, for our listeners still working, maybe with a growing or established family not quite at retirement age, is there a good time to buy?
So, yes. Take Indiana, for example. We are still a market that is growing. So the urge is typically, well, let's wait till we're ready to retire. Well, think about it this way. We may, in the next few years, see 20% growth in the value of our homes. So
I hope you're right.
Yes. And so if that is true, right. Well, why not purchase now? We always talk about, the rate can always change, but the value of the house typically will go up. Yes, does it go down a little bit? But it is like the stock market. Typically it goes up, has its dips, and continues to go up. Real estate is by far one of the largest, most important investments that anyone makes.
Sure.
And it rivals the stock market at times. It's a constant. So waiting till you retire, yeah, that's always a great option. Cash is always great. However, if you wish to benefit now, sometimes buying now because of a change in value may, in fact, benefit you. Interest rates, again, they will go down eventually, or they may go up. But you have the opportunity to market or to work on that rate. However, the house you want, the cost of that house in the future may not be affordable to you.
It is, right.
Yeah,
that's a very good point. Yeah. And frankly, if you look at interest rates over the past 20 years, 30 years, it is higher than since the Great Recession at the end of 2010. But they're still competitive rates, frankly. People are used to seeing these crazy low 2%, 3%, 4% interest rates, but that was a blip in time. That was the anomaly.
Yes.
The interest rates we're experiencing now are really more similar to what we've seen historically. Kenson, wanting to sell or wanting to buy can be greatly impacted by how much a person can afford and how much they can secure as far as money for a purchase. What options for financing the buyer? What are their options for a buyer if they're wanting to purchase? What options do they have?
So cash, obviously, is the best.
Yeah.
As we retire or we get to that age, chances are the house we have is going to be all paid off, and we can take that cash, and that's the easy one. Take that cash, purchase the next house. Obviously, always consulting the accountants, the attorneys, the financial advisors, because they ultimately will want to plan for how that money is to last you for the rest of your life. However, there you can also get a loan based on the fact that you're still working and you can use your current paychecks to justify how you're getting your income, or you may be able to use your retirement as proof of funds. You may also, especially if you're not moving but you want to stay in your home. There is the reverse mortgage that you can use that it wasn't probably as popular before, and it's becoming a little bit more acceptable. A reverse mortgage, what that allows you to do, it allows you to stay in your home and use the equity in that home to either get a lump sum payment to allow you to live out your time in that house and get an income, or you can have it come out as monthly amounts. Where that's not maybe as popular is if you want your kids to have and grandkids to have the benefits of your property upon
your
retirement
wealth.
Your
Your
wealth.
wealth.
That may limit it some.
Sure.
So it's not a program for everybody, but that is another
Something
option to allow you to stay in your house and get an income from it.
So, based upon market research and your personal experiences, Kenson, what do you find that your retired clients are looking for in a home?
My gosh, definitely downsizing.
Sure.
One story is what they're looking for. They just want a community, a community, even a villa-style home that they have maintenance-free.
Sure.
Now people are also retirees are possibly having two homes,
right,
where they live in one state, in a southern state, or somewhere part of the time, and then another. But they want to downsize. They want to have one story. They want to be close to family. But there's certain things that you can, in fact, do that people really don't think about. In order to allow you to stay in that house longer, there are services that come in, such as your business that comes in and helps with care. But there are also independent things that you can do, which is like smart alarms, ring doorbells, or door alarm systems. You have devices that monitor the heating on your stove to make sure they know that there's water. If it is a leak happening, that can censor.
It's interesting you bring that up, Kenson, because I was at a seminar, gosh, it's been maybe a year and a half now, but they were talking about with our aging population and needing to care for our aging population, and with a limited community of care providers and that struggle to find employees to provide that direct care, that some of those services, like you're talking about ring monitoring and cameras in the homes, are becoming more and more popular. It's a way for them to maintain their independence and for family members to also monitor what's happening with mom and dad just to make sure that they're safe.
Sure.
Kenson, I remember when I purchased my first home, and I was surprised to see the costs for my home purchase slowly adding up. So what costs should our listeners be aware of which are associated with buying a house that they may not have been thinking about?
So people do purchase their houses, but when they purchase, the next purchase might not be for 10 years, 20 years, 7 years. Well, things they get forgotten. First thing, obviously, the cost of a realtor. We've got to factor that in. You want a trusted professional. When it comes to one of the largest purchases or the largest safe holds you want in your lifetime, something to pass on to your family, you don't want to just give it to just anyone to do it. A realtor is there to protect you, to lead you, to guide you.
Sure.
So you need to factor in that cost. You then have the cost of an inspection. You don't want to take the risk of something. You want an inspector to at least help you with that. You have the cost of an appraiser. You have the cost of title companies, because they are going to make sure that that property transfers. And in doing that transfer, what kind of title are you going to take on this property? There are several different ways to title your property so that in case of something happening, your kids don't have a harder process to go through in order to take that property to the next level. So the title cost. And then there are other miscellaneous costs that you've got to factor in. Those costs vary depending on the type of or how you purchase. If you're doing a cash purchase, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. But if you were going through a loan process, then that has its other costs.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a surprise for folks that, my gosh, I thought I was buying a home for X dollars, and it's actually X times some figure based upon all the closing costs and, as you're saying, realtor expenses and title expenses, and surveys if you're purchasing a survey, moving expenses. Buying things for the new home you didn't anticipate having to buy. But so those are things for folks to be aware of for sure. I've always been curious about buying an existing home or building a new home. What are the pros and cons of each? Is there a typical buyer that may be better for a new home versus remodeling an existing home? What's your opinion there?
I really think it all depends on your desires and needs. There are pluses to having a new construction. One, everything is brand new.
Right.
It's worry-free. Your family may feel that they're a little bit less stressed about you having to maintain a home. You're in a newer neighborhood. The downsides to that is that it is a new neighborhood, so you're going to have construction traffic that's going to sometimes still be going through. You're going to have you don't have mature trees. Your landscaping is new. You're going to have to still maintain that.
Sure.
So that's the plus side, the plus and negative sides of new construction. Existing homes are great because they're a little bit lower in value for what you're getting. So a 1,200 square foot brand new construction will cost you more than a 1,200 square foot existing house. Possibly you may get a few more amenities in an existing home because over time the previous owner would have made those upgrades to allow for their own lifestyles. And also on the plus side to that is that your landscaping is mature, your neighbor is a little bit grown up, a little bit more established.
Sure.
Yes, you're going to possibly run into some repair that you may have to do, but again, it depends on what you want to take on. So there are pluses and minuses. I've always been a fan of existing because I can take them and turn them to what I really want and still a lower price.
Sure.
But there are people who do prefer brand new construction. They don't have to think about anything, just come and go.
Sure. Kenson, we're getting close on time, but I have to ask, why should our listeners use a realtor, right? People say, I'll buy on my own, I'll sell on my own, I don't need to pay that commission. Sure. Why not just go it alone?
Oh, well, one, more than anything else, a realtor is your guide, is your best friend, is the person that's going to keep you from making financial, legal issues. They're going to look out for your interests. The oath of a realtor is to protect their client. Added to that, we are the experts in the field. You may have bought a house or sold a house 7 to 10 years ago. We are buying and selling a house, at least one every month. The other thing is, whenever I look at a contract today that our Board of Realtors puts out, or the state of Indiana puts out, it's interesting. It's a living, breathing document. So when I'm filling out a contract, sometimes I notice, wow, we are in fact seeing a new bit of verbiage that wasn't there before. And for someone to go it alone, rules are changing all the time. We have to make sure that we are looking out for your interests and that you're not making mistakes.
Great information, Kenson. Thank you. If you as a listener would like to speak with our guest, Realtor Kenson Dhanie, please contact him at 260-249-0778. Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. Give us a call at 260-925-3738. Thank you for listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law, and to our guest, Realtor Kenson Dhanie. Look forward to speaking with you again next Saturday at 9 a.m. Enjoy your weekend.
You've been listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. For more information, log on to NugenLaw.com or email help@NugenLaw.com. Nothing stated in today's program should be considered as legal advice, should not be considered as having created an attorney-client relationship between show host and guests and any listener. Nugen Law is not liable for anything that happens as a result of a listener relying on provided information as legal advice. The content is for informational purposes only.
Podcasts by Federated Media.